Nosferatu, the seventh killer in the Forsaken roster, released in November 28th during the Masquerade Surprise. Well, he was definitely surprised, alright. He was a shadow drop, which is pretty cool in my opinion, because who doesn't want to play a new character in a video game? Well, people hated Nosferatu when he was released because there was so many other killers people wanted, like Azor, Doombringer, Stalker, all. Eventually, people have turned their hatred to the random vampire no one asked for, to a killer that people might enjoy. I'm not too sure. Myself included, of course. Now, there is going to be a lot of new players that will either A, give Nosferatu a second try, like they were old players that hated his guts, or B, there are a new player and want to try him, like a one-day player or some shit. When I first started playing Forsaken, I saw the killer roster. I played all the killers, of course, like at some point. I learned to hate some, like 1X. When Azor came out, I hated him. I wasn't the biggest fan of John. I tolerate him. And then there was like two killers that I really liked. Cool Kid and Nosferatu. I like Cool Kid because killing a person in like 5 zeptoseconds is so fun to me. But the problem with Cool Kid is corrupt energy or whatever it's called. It's kind of sky high on console. So I learned how to play Nosferatu because I really like stealth killers in ASIM games. Like example, Dead by Daylight. I played Ghostface. Ghostface is a lot of fun in my opinion, even though he's the worst, or one of the worst in the game. So, in turn, I played Nosferatu, the only stealth killer in the game. I still play Nosferatu, and I'm level 195 during recording. Which, geez Louise, I need to get a job. As a level 195 Chud Nosferatu main, that needs to go get a job. I want to teach new players how to play the killer. Because some people still don't know how to play him, or counter him, or anything like that. So, that's why I made this video. To teach people to counter and play Nosferatu correctly, instead of just throwing, like, the most random cataclysms, Hunter's Feasts, blood hooks. Because I do watch some players play the killer, and it's abysmal. Like, I see people throw blood hooks in walls, Hunter's Feasts in walls. Like, you're not cool kids, you're not 1X. You're playing Nosferatu. I suppose I'll start talking about abilities and stuff like that. Nosferatu has one passive, Levitation. He shares his passive with Dusakar, actually. The whole point of this passive is that you get no footstep audio. This is not very good public lobbies, because people often won't utilize footstep audio, but pro players and higher level players, whatever you want to call them, use footstep audio on loops without lines of sight. Some examples are cave loop on glass houses, that building loop on natural disaster, survival, whatever the fuck. This passive is very nice to have because it can secure some kills or hits that you normally would have gotten. Lacerate, or also known as Nosferatu's M1. It does 24 damage, one of the weakest M1s in the game. It used to be the weakest until the Gardener came to the game, aka Azor. But funky, Sixer does 20 damage per M1. Well, viewer, Sixer has Eviscerate, and she can do plenty of mind games with just Eviscerate. So you can also get blood, so I'm not considering it bad. Nosferatu's M1 is also reactable to a guest, but it's way easier to drag block a Nosferatu M1 because he has a really long linger during his M1. Linger doesn't matter too much, but you get some undeserved hits and kills with this linger. Nosferatu can also have the strongest M1 in the game, but we'll get to that later. Well, I suppose let's get to the real abilities and the guts of his kit. Nosferatu has four abilities, and they are all pretty good at a niche. I'll be talking about my favorite ability first, and then work my way down to my least favorite ability. I love all of Nosferatu's abilities, it's just I prefer one more than the others. Hunter's Feast, my favorite ability on Nosferatu. Hunter's Feast has a 16-second cooldown, and can be redirected once. Even though Hunter's Feast looks very underwhelming on paper, like, who really wants a 5 damage projectile? Well, this is a stat move for all of your other abilities, or if its survivor is low enough you can finish them off with it. You may be wondering, what does Hunter's Feast even do? Well, if you land the ability, Nosferatu becomes invisible and becomes undetectable. Being undetectable on the survivor side is really useful. But what does it do on the killer side? Well, one, Builderman turrets cannot shoot you, even though you're in range. As long as you're undetectable, you will not be shot and get slowed. Number two, TAF subspaces cannot explode. Very useful. You won't get the weakness that it provides. I don't know why they changed it, but whatever. Number three, your terror radius is gone. Nobody really plays Builderman or TAF, but all of Nosferatu's abilities do counter both of those survivors in some shape or form. I will explain those parts later in this video, but back to Hunter's Feast. The invisibility from Hunter's Feast is one of the reasons you will use it. It has so many mind game possibilities that are only exclusive to Nosferatu, because he has this invisibility. You can just wait for a survivor to run up to you. You can just regain your stamina and make the survivor waste theirs, because they will be paranoid that you'll just still be chasing them. But that's not where the fun ends. Hunter's Feast also gives Nosferatu a 25 damage bonus on the survivor that gets hit by Hunter's Feast. You can easily see who you hit because they will be highlighted in yellow. Now the fun does end, of course. If you use any of your abilities or 10 seconds go up, your invisibility and your undetectable will end. You may be wondering, when is a good time to use Hunter's Feast? I love to use it after a misstun to get a juicy 30 damage M1, or just use it on an unsuspecting survivor to get a better chase on a survivor I'm already chasing. You can also use Hunter's Feast directly on Gust after they charge you. There is one slight problem with this ability. Jane Doe. If she hits resonance right before you get your invisibility, you'll have a bunch of particles floating around you, screwing up your invisibility. So target Jane Doe's early in the round. She can also see your footsteps, but I think they removed that in the Azure update. I could be wrong, so please correct me in the comments. Well, that's enough talk about Hunter's Feast, and now time to talk about my second favorite ability of Nosferatu, Bloodhook. Bloodhook does 15 initial damage when you hit it, and 25 after you finish reeling the survivor in. Bloodhook has a 24-second cooldown that is static. Now, as you may have seen on the thumbnail, I have said Bloodhook is the best pull in the game. Now, each killer with a pull ability does have various benefits and downsides, but I think Nosferatu has the best pull in the game. Now, why do I say Bloodhook is the best pull in the game? Well, yes, each other killer with a pull does have a strong pull. Nosferatu's, in my opinion, is the strongest. You have the possibility of doing a mass infection level damage, being 40 damage, and plus an entanglement, which is quite strong. And even if you do win the minigame, yes, you will have helpless for 2 seconds, but you can quickly bring in another hit that will nearly kill a survivor, or essentially kill a survivor. Now, each other killer with a pull does have various downsides. We will get to those in a minute. Bloodhook should be used as a tool to catch a survivor from running, but you should not use it as a punishing tool. Using it after a sentinel misses a stun is one of the worst things you can do with it. Some other good times to use Bloodhook is when a survivor least expects it, like they're on a generator, or they're dancing around. You can also use it with the combination of Hunter's Feast, being invisible, and having a Blood Hook that makes it really hard to react to, and will put the survivor in a bad position or bad stamina. Be wary though. Think about when you use a Blood Hook, of course. Like, if there's multiple objects to block the Blood Hook, or a survivor could run behind. Do not use the Blood Hook. Not a good idea. Use it in open spaces, or like when you're doing a loop. Do it quickly after turning the corner to grab the survivor. That's one of my favorite ways to use it, because survivors never expect it. Especially a loop that has a long wall, like glass houses again. Now let's get to those advantages and disadvantages of other killers' pulls. Now, I'll start with Azor first, because he's the most recent. Azor has a Strangle, and Strangle can throw you into pits of hell if used correctly. But also, if you use it badly, and survivors are behind a big wall, then Azor will barely gain any stamina during a Strangle, and will be a major stamina disadvantage. And Strangle is very hard to use, and even if you do hit the ability, another Sentinel on the survivor team can stun you out of the grab, making it useless. Blood Hook does not have... Blood Hook gives stun immunity during the pull. That makes it very useful. Now, there is another killer with a pull. 1x. Sure, he can pull through walls, but after the recent nerfs, the distance you get pulled is so little, and you still have to waste some stamina to hit your target. Like, you have to run up to your target after you hit your entanglement, but you have to waste a lot more now. And before you go, you have to make the survivor glitched to make entanglement good. Well, the clip that's playing has both variations of the entanglement. Also, entanglement and stranglement both are considered very unfair at times. Before nerf, 1x was very stupid to play against. You could just throw an entanglement as 1x and essentially win a whole chase. And Azor's grab can throw you into dungeons of hell. Blood Hook is fair because the survivor has to put some interaction in the mid-game. Now that's enough talk for Blood Hook. Now time for Ascension. This move is very weird. No other move in the game acts like it. Ascension makes Nosferatu a bat after he uses it. Nosferatu will be invincible and be very fast during it. He can also fly like a bat. Duh. This fits the vampire aesthetic Nosferatu has. Anyways, let's get into the fundamentals of the ability. Nosferatu also gets the aura reveal when he goes into Ascension. This is very nice to have because, as we have seen with Azor and Cool Kid, they hate people who turn Forsaken into Hide and Seek Pro. You are also stun immune during your bat form, but you can also still get hit by subspace effect. This will remove your aura reading capability during the ability. I think you could get slowed, but I'm not 100% sure. You are also very fast in Ascension. You can go in unreachable places. You can also go on top of loops, buildings, and Cool Carnival. And in so many more chuddy spots. You can also use Ascension to get back up from a ledge if you were to fall or get pushed off by the Clanker or Guest. Be careful though, if you exit out of Ascension with the same button you press to use it, you will have slowness and helpless for 30 seconds. Nosferatu also can dive bomb onto a survivor. There are so many weird and gimmicky things you can do with Ascension. You can curve it so that you hit a survivor behind a wall and get a very lovely 35 damage chase starter. But you should also be very careful with this ability. You can only use it once every 34 seconds. And if you miss it, the survivor has a good state. So let's talk about Nosferatu's last ability, Cataclysm. Now in the thumbnail you saw Middle Child of Traps, And I completely stand by that statement. Azure traps can cover a lot of the map at one point, but can be disabled and can be dodged with N7 clones and noobs ghost burgers. And Azure can only have 3 of each of his traps, so the Azure player has to be very wise with each placement. John Doe has digital footprints, but he also only has 3. John Doe's corrupt energy, if used correctly, can instantly secure a kill, but can also screw up the John Doe, creating an infinite loop. Nosferatu has a niche in these traps of Cataclysm. You won't instantly lose if you get trapped by a Cataclysm, but you will lose a lot of health. After the recent buffs, Cataclysm now does Bleeding 3 and Slowness 1 for 6 to 8 seconds. I forgot the exact number. Cataclysm is also very good for gaining information. Hear me out, that sounds a bit weird for a trap move, but whilst you're in the animation, you can easily adjust your trap because you will see the survivor. You can also regain stamina during Cataclysm, which is a very good thing to have. Some of the best times to use Cataclysm is to cut off staircases, if a survivor misses a stun, if a survivor has low stamina, or if they're in a dead zone. Be careful with it because the blood pulls do leave somewhat soon, and the ability is on a 22-second cooldown. Okay, now's a lot of talk just for abilities, and simple stuff like movement speed. So let's talk about Nosferatu's weaknesses. N7. He can use his clone to block all of Nosferatu's abilities. He is a nuisance to deal with as Nosferatu, and a good one will just make you their plaything. Getting stunned. Yes, I know this sounds weird, but with the brand new Sentinel stacking rework and the new stun effect, it is very bad for Nosferatu. You could see the spawn symbols during your invisibility, and it is really detrimental for a Nosferatu player. Forsaken devs, if you see this, please remove stun or spawn symbols during Nosferatu's invisibility. It'll help him a lot. That's a lot of cons for Nosferatu. But what are the pros? Nosferatu is a jack of all trades. He really isn't great at anything. Like, he's decent at stealth, but also Slasher has a smaller tear radius for some reason. It's weird. So, but he's good about everything. He's good at loop stopping. He's good at mind games. He doesn't have the best M1, but it's alright. But he also has the best M1. It's kind of weird to say that, but Hunter's Feast helps a lot. Another thing I really like of Nosferatu is the satisfaction level of playing him. Hitting your very first curve on Ascension and a blood tick that saves you the game is one of the best feelings in the game. Another pro of him is even though he has a handful of chase scenes, they all are bangers. Heritage is one of the best chase scenes in the game, in my opinion. His default is very good. All of them are good. Well, after all that yapping, in my opinion, Nosferatu is the most fun killer in the game. He has a lot of potential in wiping a lobby, and also can do a lot of things other killers can't. Sure, he might be overlooked and forgotten, but who doesn't love a good underdog? Well, thank you very much for watching this video. It took me a very long time on making, so a subscribe would be nice. I'm not planning on using my voice too much in videos. I just wanted to put my heart into this video. Well, I hope everyone watching has a great day. Goodbye.